Well, welcome, Queens. This is a completely, I want to say random. It's not random. This is a very spontaneous episode because if you're watching the video, you can see I'm currently walking. Now, the reason I'm doing this, aka walking, whilst recording a podcast, which is not ideal, let's be honest, but I've had this idea of this episode burning in my head, burning in my soul. Let's be more dramatic than that, shall we? For so long, I thought if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? Because I'm very blessed to have a small waiting list for one-to-one clients. So I've got a diary full of clients. Number one priority is being a mama to this beautiful Queenie. And by the time I have got space to record this, it'll probably be end of October. So I'm doing it now. And it's kind of ironic actually because the episode is called How the Fuck to Actually Surrender. And I mean, surrender, I'm going to talk about different types of surrender. No, I'm not. That's also a lie. There's only one way to surrender. What I meant by that is I'm going to talk about the different aspects in how you can surrender and how it makes sense to tangible everyday life. Focusing primarily on recovery. Hiro, you sniffed that piece of grass long enough now. Oh my goodness me. So if you're not watching the video and you're listening to this, the audio will most likely not be as good quality. Well, it won't be as good quality as it usually is. So apologies for that, but I'd rather get this episode out into the world than not. So here we go. How the fuck to actually surrender? Well, I've recording this episode because surrender is something that needs to happen in order to fully recover from an eating disorder. And quite honestly, in order to be happy, fulfilled, and at peace in life in general. And so the way I describe surrender to me is, first of all, oh yeah, and of course you'll also have the background sound of my little girl. Won't we, sweetheart? That's okay. Again, not ideal. And again, I'm surrendering to the fact that this episode is by no means going to be perfect, high quality, but that's okay because I'd rather get it done than none at all. So as I was saying, the way I describe surrender, first and foremost, is letting go, stopping fighting what is. So I like to reach surrender by, first of all, accepting. Accepting what is. Accepting does not mean you like the thing. Accepting does not mean you approve of the thing, whatever it is you're working on accepting. Acceptance just means that this thing exists and it is what it is. And that's acceptance. Basically, it's stopping fighting reality. Usually it's stopping fighting against yourself, your body. I'm sure you're familiar with that. So we'll first get there by accepting. I'm going to go into more detail, but I just want to talk briefly what I think and know surrender to be. So acceptance is a mindset. Acceptance is a choice. And then surrender is the embodiment of acceptance. It's a state of being. It's where you have no resistance. You're completely allowing and welcoming. Well, welcoming is a deeper spiritual path, but you're completely allowing what is happening, even if you don't want it to happen. But in order for us to be in a state of surrender, we have to first understand why we're having a hard time surrendering and letting go of control. So let's bring this to eating disorder recovery. And this goes for anorexia, bulimia, binge eating, recovery. Control, aka controlling your food, controlling the time you eat, controlling when, what, and how, controlling everything or trying to control everything in your life, because control is actually an illusion. I guarantee if you're controlling your food, whether or not you end up face planting chocolate later every day, that doesn't matter. It's the pursuit of control. The pursuit of control is why currently we're talking about control. This podcast might be all over the place, but it's going to be full of wisdom, I promise. We're talking about control, because if we weren't all control freaks, then we would just be able to just reach a state of surrender very easily. So why is it not okay for us to let go of control? So ask yourself that, journal about that. What would it mean about you if you let go of control? Around food, around your body looking a certain way, around your relationships, whatever it is you control. Because I guarantee you, how we do one thing is how we do everything. So your relationship with food can tell you so much about the relationship you have with yourself and with your life and with your relationships and all the things. So if you're, let's say, restricting, binging, purging, then I guarantee you look at other areas of your life, where are you denying yourself, suppressing yourself, and then taking everything all at once, and then not being able to hold on to the goodness or the overload that you've taken, which you need, by the way, and then you have to release it again. If you're in anorexia and you're just severely restricting without any binging, although binging does occur in anorexia, believe it or not, you're absolutely guaranteed to be restricting other areas of your life in the same ways that you're restricting food. Yep, so that's that. Where was I going with this? So first and foremost, sorry, my darling Koa, Mum is a bit all over the place, but I want to get this episode out, so here it is. Why is it not okay for you to let go of control? That's what you need to get clear on first. Because when you've got clear on why you're feeling like you have to keep controlling, and understanding through your journaling that actually it's costing you way more than it's giving you, this illusion of control, or perhaps it's not even an illusion, perhaps you think, or there's evidence in your life that you are actually controlling things. So the cost is always, if you're listening to this, the cost is always worse than the gain. Meaning, let's say when I was controlling food, and again, my story, those of you that know me by now knows that my story started off with anorexia. And then I was, quote unquote, weight restored and recovered, apparently, even though I very much had an eating disorder in my head. And then it just morphed into bulimia and binge eating and bulimia. So I was still always trying to control my body first and foremost, and therefore my food. So when I was just like done, and I was like, do you know what? There must be more to life than this. Come on, there must be. I got clear on what it was costing me staying where I was, the controlling, the obsessing, what it was costing me. So get very clear on what it's costing you. And then we're going to talk about surrender now. So as I was saying before, surrender is a state of being, and I get to surrender by first of all using my mindset and accepting. And accepting, as I said before, again, repetition is the mother of all learning. Accepting is giving up fighting reality. So let's say you're looking in the mirror and you're hating what you see and you're wishing you could be thinner, and you're thinking about changing your diet again and restricting even more and exercising even more. Actually relieves some anxiety in the moment, because you think you're going to be able to do something about it and then get that fantasy body or the control, even more of control that you need and want to feel okay. So you're fighting what is, fighting the body, fighting life and all the things, and then you suffer, because pain is inevitable in life, but suffering is optional, and suffering occurs when you fight what is. So you start off by being like, you know what, my body, this situation, it is what it is. I don't like it, I'm pissed off by it, but I accept, or I'm choosing to accept, that this situation exists, because it does. If I was continuing to refuse to accept this situation, my body, whatever it is, then I'm just going to be in suffering. I'm sorry, I'm not paying you any attention, am I, sweetheart? I'm just going to be in suffering. So you first of all reach acceptance. And then if you allow your body, your physical and emotional body, to take over that acceptance in a feeling, you will then experience surrender. Now, I used to think surrender was giving up. I used to think surrender was being beaten by something that I had to give into because it was stronger than me and therefore I was weak. That's not what surrender is. Surrender actually is a very wise state of being, which so many different things and growth especially can be born from. So I then had to reframe. Like again, first and foremost, I had to get clear on what it was costing me trying to control everything and understanding why I wasn't willing or didn't want to surrender before until I did and just didn't know how. And then I started off with acceptance, with the mind, the acceptance. And then, where was I even going with this? Oh, yeah. And then I had to reaffirm to myself that actually surrender, giving up the fight with myself because I wanted my body to look a certain way, was actually a very wise move. It wasn't a move that was born from weakness or giving up. It was actually born in love. The fighting was born from fear. It has an energy of fear around it. And whenever we do anything that has an energy of fear, you just invite more fear into your life. And who wants to live in fear? Not me. So I then decided that, you know what? I'm just going to practice. I'm going to try emphasize that surrendering is actually the wisest, most self-loving, most successful, because I was still in aligned with that word when I started this journey, is the most successful thing that I can do for myself. Right, Hiro's doing a poo, so I'm a responsible dog mum. I can't pause this because I can't bother to piece it all together in my podcast app. So bear with me whilst I get my poo bag. Hold on, I've got poo on me. And get this poo up. Oh, the joys. I'm not supposed to be having Terra on video. You might have seen glimpses of her, but there you go. Let's see. Isn't it annoying, by the way, when dog owners don't pick up their dog poo? I mean, it's not a nice job, but you've got to do it. Right, you might see the trees for a moment. While I pick this up, I'm going to purposely not show you the dog poo because you don't want to be seeing things like that. Okie dokie. Right, let me put that in there. Oh, it's like you're on a voice note with me to a friend, isn't it? Okay. Whew. That smells. Of course it does. So, where was I? Yes, surrendering is giving up in the best possible way. Because I asked myself this, if I continue trying to control, actually controlling whatever it is, whatever story you're telling yourself, if I continue the way I am, this was obviously back then when I started full recovery properly, where is it going to take me? Where am I going to end up in 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 30 years time? I didn't like the reality of that because I kind of used to think that over time something would just magically change. I don't know why I thought that, but I just thought that if I didn't do anything and I just continued doing what I was doing, even though I was suffering and in pain, then it would just magically change one day and I'd just not be bothered. I'd just not be bothered about what my body looked like when I got older. I'd just not be bothered and I'd just eat whatever the fuck I wanted. Yeah, that's not going to happen unless you actually change something. So that's when I wanted to change something because I knew if I didn't change something, nothing would change. So I know this is long-winded and I'm sorry for repeating myself, but it is what it is. I decided that surrender was the best thing that I could do for myself. And so I practice surrender. I say practice because ideally we live in a constant state of surrender as humans. Can you imagine if every single thing that happened in life, we welcomed it? Even things that we didn't want to happen, even things that we had a preference of them being different, we just welcomed it with open arms. We would be living like Jesus and Buddha, I assume, completely at peace, completely surrendered to what is, would be very, very happy, content, fulfilled, and at peace. Now, we're human, so, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know anybody who lives like that, do you? Well, I know of people that I watch online, to be honest. Sadhguru, he's a great person. He looks like he lives in total surrender. Moji, Mooji, is it? He looks like he lives in total surrender. But anyway, going off on a little tangent here, the idea is to surrender to life as much as possible. Because that's when we create a feeling of peace and fulfillment and just flowing through life. And it just feels so much better. It's a bit like holiday vibes. If you're ever able to surrender on holiday, which if you're watching or listening to this, you probably can't, but you might have been able to in the past when you were a child even. Or if not, just watching people who are on holiday, vacation for the Americans. And they're just like, yeah, who knows what we're going to do today? Just going to go with the flow. And obviously I'm not saying don't plan your life at all. Don't strive for your goals, because of course you're going to, of course I do. But what I'm talking about here is an inner state of being, of surrender, as you get shit done. Because this is the thing, I used to think that when I surrendered, I would get nothing done. I used to think that if I surrendered, I would just be this lazy ass, extremely large person who didn't care about anything, couldn't get anything done, wasn't successful, whatever that meant to me, because I was living in black or white, all or nothing, which is part of the eating disorder identity and the perfectionism identity. But actually I proved myself wrong, because giving up fighting myself is actually really smart if you think about it, and surrendering and then moving from that space, that state of being, it brought so much. So how to actually surrender then? First of all, I mean, I know you love step by steps. Number one, get clear on what this current state of control is costing you. If it's costing you more than what it's giving you, you have to do something about it. Well, you don't have to, but you just completely stay suffering for the rest of your life. We don't want that. Number two, practice acceptance first, a mindset. It is what it is, don't like it, pissed off by it, bring humour into it, whatever you need to do, but I accept that this exists in the world. I accept my body exists this way, I accept this experience or this person is behaving this way. Oh, let me put it in the bin. The poop dog in the bin. There. I accept it. That's number two. Number three, allow your body to go into a state of surrender. Allow yourself to just let go. Let go energetically and emotionally. You can even help yourself by physically just falling back on your bed and letting your bed catch you. Just allow yourself to embody and experience that feeling of surrender, which is letting go. It's a breath out. It's a letting go of all the shit you've been carrying that doesn't serve you anymore. So let's say the control feels like, by the way, how cute is this? In the Netherlands, they have little book things outside people's houses, and you can just well, I can't because I can't speak Dutch, but you can just borrow books and stuff. It's really cute. So I just thought I'd share that with you. Oh my goodness, what was I saying? I was going about the steps, and then I was on about the state of being. Oh yeah. So if you imagine letting go of fighting, this way, boy. If you imagine a different way, imagine that you're climbing a mountain and you've got a rucksack of rocks on your back. There's absolutely no point whatsoever in having those rocks in your rucksack as you're climbing this mountain. These rocks might have served you at one time. They might have served you because you might have needed rocks. Obviously, this is a shit metaphor, but you might have needed rocks to, bang together to create a fire one time, or you might have needed rocks to help someone build a fucking house. I don't know what I'm saying right now, but what I'm saying is the reason the rocks are in the rucksack is because you thought you needed the rocks at some point. Maybe the rocks were created because you thought they were serving you, and they would have done at some point, because there's always a reason why we do something as humans. But then very quickly after, the rocks were actually harming you. But because all you've known is suffering and having to work hard for things, you didn't feel safe to put the rocks down, because, well, who would you be without the rocks? Who would you be without carrying the rocks, without struggling up the hill all the time as you're trying to do life, right? So you can imagine letting go as putting the fucking rucksack down, letting it off your back and just putting it down, and then feeling that release of not carrying that heavy rucksack anymore that you don't actually need. So there's that metaphor. Good morning, welcome. There's that metaphor, right? There's another one which I like, which actually represents how I was. Let's say you're hanging on the edge of a cliff, literally with your fingernails, with your fingers and your fingernails, and you're hanging on, and you're hanging on, and you're hanging on. This is like hanging on to control. I need to restrict my food. My body needs to be thin because then I'll be loved and accepted and desired and safe and all the things. And obviously society tells us that if we're thin, then we'll have the perfect job and the perfect partner and we'll be so happy, and then we can look like those people on those holiday adverts with the perfect family, with the perfect children, going down the perfect water slide with the perfect water splashing in the perfect way. LOL. Doesn't happen, does it? So, yeah, you're clinging on the cliff with your fingers, and I'm there on Instagram, on my podcast, on YouTube, being like, sweetheart, let the fuck go. Why are you holding on for dear life to the edge of this cliff top? Which makes sense, actually. If I ask that question, that's a stupid question to ask, because, of course, if someone's literally at the edge of a cliff, hanging on, of course, the reason they're hanging on is because I think they're literally going to die if they let go, which is probably perhaps how you feel if you were to let go of the eating disorder, to let go of controlling your body, to let go of the control. You probably think you're going to die. But I'm there, like I say, on podcasts, on Instagram, on social media, being like, sweetheart, I promise you, I feel like I need to do dramatic effect without my glasses on. I promise you, if you let go, there's a net that will catch you. And you know what the net is that will catch you? The net is made by your future higher, best free self. And you can't see the net yet, but I promise you it will catch you if you allow yourself to let go. Now, some people can just be like, fuck it. You know what? I'd rather just die. By the way, I'm talking this in a humorous way. I don't actually mean to actually die. But you know what I'm saying here? Like, oh, just fuck it. This is what I was like. Thankfully, my all or nothing served me in eating disorder recovery, because I was like, fuck it, whatever it fucking takes. You've heard, if you're new here, by the way, welcome to this sporadic, all over the place episode. They're not normally like this. A little bit, but not always. But if you know me by now, you'll know that my mantra was whatever it fucking takes in recovery to recover. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to let go. And then I fell hard and I was like, oh shit, why did I let go? There's going to be no net. I'm going to like go to my death at the end of this metaphorical cliff. And then a little bit of a net appeared. And then it stopped my fall a little bit and I fell some more. And anyway, you know how it goes, or you can assume how it goes. So you're at the end of this cliff and I'm there saying, sweetheart, let the fuck go. I've let go before. All these hundreds of other people that have been coached by me have let go before. And you can read their testimonials. They've not died. You can read them so you can see how they are. So it's like letting go at the edge of a cliff. I get that. But what other choice do you have just to hang on for the rest of your life? What kind of life is that, hanging on the edge of a cliff? You can't do anything nice. You can't rest if you're hanging off the edge of a cliff. So that's another way. That's a more dramatic, probably more realistic way, to be fair, of letting go. And the fact I'm describing all this to you is because how you let go, how you surrender, is just by doing it. And that's why it's not very tangible. I'm trying to make it as tangible as possible, but it's quite hard to describe because it's not a case of, I mean, I have given you steps, but it's not a case of like, this is exactly how you do it. You just have to do it. What other metaphor do I have for you? So I've had the carrying the bag one. Be muffin. I've had the carrying the bag one. I've had the hanging off the edge of a cliff one. Yeah, I can't think of any more, but you get the point. It's when you feel that internal resistance, that internal sense of I must control, I need to control, I need to control, I need to control. And then when you control, you're like, oh, I feel better. I get it. You feel better. That's why you keep doing it. When you notice that internal resistance, I want you to practice letting the fuck go and surrendering to what is. So another great way to look at this is if you close your eyes and imagine there's two versions of you. And these two versions of you are having a tug of war with a big ass tug of war rope. And they're obviously tugging against each other. And they're tugging and they're tugging and no one's winning and they're just tugging and tugging and tugging and they're fighting themselves, which is you. That's an internal version of you. Have you had enough yet? It's exhausting, isn't it? So you get to decide, or the universe decides, whatever in your vision, one of these versions of you puts the rope down and drops the rope and walks up to the other version of you and gives this version of you a big fucking hug. Gives you a big cuddle and says, look, let's not fight anymore, let's work together. And that's when you would like walk towards an archway that says weight gain and fear over here, and you walk towards that door together. And I'm at the door, and I'm guiding you through the door, and I'm helping you through the door, because obviously the reason that we find surrendering really hard is because we're afraid of what will happen when we do. So what's the worst case scenario that could happen if you just let the foot go and surrendered to something that you're resisting against in life right now? Write down the worst case scenario and then ask yourself, and then what? And then what? And then what? And you'll understand and you'll come to see that actually, yeah, it probably would be shit, but you're going to be okay. You know? I mean, I need to help you with this because you need support around this type of stuff. But that helped me, like being like, oh, I'm going to gain weight. And then what? And then I'll be ugly and disgusting and fat. And then what? And then no one will like me and love me. And then what? I'll be alone. And then what? I'll die alone. I mean, that didn't happen. It won't happen, but it helps me to get to the root of my fear. And then I could use my logical mind and be like, how likely is that actually going to happen? And then you can start working with someone who you trust and start working towards the freedom you want to create. But I tell you what, unless you are willing to let go, unless you are willing to surrender, you will not be able to fully recover. And everyone can surrender and let go. Think of a time. Has there been a time in your life? Oh, let's not go that way, Hiro. There's something in the way. Has there been a time in your life where you've been fighting, resisting, and then you just was like, you know what? I give in. I'm just going to let it be what it is. And you surrendered. If you can, think back to that experience. Think back to how that felt in your body. I mean, it might not have felt nice because it depended on what you were surrendering to. It might be the fact you were surrendering to the grief of losing someone and you were fighting back, expressing the grief, and you just like surrendered to the grief and just let it like wash over you. So that wasn't a positive experience, but it was just it's like a relief. Surrender is like a relief. That's how it feels. It's like a breath out. So I do kind of want to try and wrap this episode up. And yeah, what else do I want to say on surrender? So it's letting go of control, stopping fighting, embodying that feeling of letting go. Hello. Embodying that feeling of letting go. Sorry, we have a few dogs coming up. And Hiro is a male dog with balls. So if we see another male dog with balls, it's never a good experience. So let's go. Hello. Come on. Come boy. Be nice. That's it. Okay. Sorry about this, but it is what it is. You might be enjoying my little adventure. Adventures with Hiro and Victoria and Koa as she's doing her best to create a podcast episode. So, okay, Victoria, get serious now. How do I want to support my lovely listeners moving forward? If you're in eating disorder recovery, which I'm sure you will be if you're listening to this, or you're supporting someone in eating disorder recovery if you're listening to this, hello. Mwah, love you, darling. I guarantee we all need to learn how to surrender even more. Being a mother, oh my God, that has taught me so much on how to surrender. She's looking at me smiling. Mwah, love you. She's taught me so much on how to surrender because I was like noticing weird controlling energies coming up around when she would sleep, what time she would sleep, when she would sleep again, because I was so desperate to get as much sleep as possible. And I was noticing that it was not serving me. It wasn't serving me. It wasn't serving her. So I was like, do you know what? Fuck it. My surrender word actually is fuck it. Try that on. Fuck it. Like, use the fuck it to your advantage. There's actually a great book called Fuck It Therapy. I'm going to have to stop swearing when Koa gets older, else that's going to be a first bloody word. Yeah, there's a book called Fuck It Therapy. It adopts the attitude of fuck it because that will help you to reach and access that state of being that is surrender. Oh, something really key. I mean, we're going to talk about motherhood, but long story short, motherhood is the ultimate opportunity to surrender. We don't have to, but then we just suffer. And I don't want to do that anymore. I've done that enough in my life. So Koa keeps showing me how to surrender again. And it's really cool. Right, this is really important before I wrap this up. When we surrender, we're leaning into trust and faith. Look how cute those cows are. Hello, moo cows. When we surrender, we're leaning into trust. And trust and faith is invisible, right? Just like fear is invisible. You may as well choose the invisible thing that actually serves you. And so it's trusting the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. It's trusting your higher self. It's trusting your body knows what the fuck it's doing because it does. Your body, I don't think you can see that. There's one of those really big birds. No, it's too far away. Those ones that bring babies in the old tales, you know what I mean? There's one of them. There's loads of them in Netherlands, actually. Trust. Where am I going here? Trust. Trust is invisible. Oh yeah, your body. You can trust your body because your body may not look the way you want it to look when you've recovered, but trust that your body knows exactly what it's doing. There's no water down there, boy. You have to go a bit further. Your body knows exactly what it's doing. If you eat a shitload of sugar, don't worry, your body can handle it. If you oversleep, in your opinion, your body will handle it. If you don't get enough sleep, that's not ideal, but your body will handle it. Trust that whatever you do, your body will handle it. But, no, I want to use but because but is a common denominator of what you've just said before. Because it's not about only just blindly trusting your body, it's about taking care of your body. Bring it back to the story, Victoria. We're talking about letting go and surrendering to control. It's about taking care of yourself, letting go, and trusting that your body can handle it, trusting that your body can repair. It can. Trusting that when you let go, if that relationship then falls apart with another person, then it's supposed to fall apart. It's not meant for you. That's, another whole nother podcast. But is it? Because it's all the same thing. Whatever is meant for you will not pass you. So trust that everything will come to you, and everything that doesn't come to you or everything that leaves you isn't meant for you and your highest good. So for me, what's not meant for me for the rest of my life is having a very lean body. I mean, it's just not meant for me because otherwise I'd have it. And in order for me to have a very lean body, I'd have to stay in an eating disorder for the rest of my life. I don't want that. Nope. I want to live, not just survive and thrive just to look good. Yeah, so Hiro wants to go for some water. Oh my goodness. Let's not do this with a baby carrier on. Lol. Okay, at least he can reach the water. There he goes, look. Oh my god, my mind is... Hiro, please help me out here because I can't literally fall down there with Koa, can I? If you're still here, good on you. I was talking about trust, wasn't I? And I lost that train of thought then. I was talking about trust and trusting my body. Oh yeah, and saying that yeah, what's not for me what's for me will not pass me, and what is not for me will pass me, and that's it, to trust and just let that be okay. Because what is not for me in this lifetime is to have a lean body. Unless I want to live with an eating disorder for the rest of my life, and I don't. Come on, boy, there's another piece of water you can go in down here. I don't. So I've let that go. And you know what comes with letting go? Grieving, mourning the loss of something, of a person, of your fantasy body, of the eating disorder, mourning the loss, grieving the thing that you're letting go of, because you can't step into something new if you're still holding on to something else. Remember, if you're still holding on to the edge of that cliff, you therefore then can't let go of the cliff and be free from it if you're still holding on, even with one finger. So grieving the loss, mourning the loss as you let go. Trust, blind trust. Because what have you got to lose? That's another one. When you let go of control, it will feel like a shit show to begin with. But trust that the net will appear. If you jump, the net will appear, it will. And then when you've got proof that the net will appear and you can trust yourself and trust life, we need a bit of help sometimes, and that's okay, to solidify and build this trust with yourself and the universe. Surrendering's so much easier when you just trust. So I would say that I surrender very quickly now. Sometimes I just need a reminder from anxiety or like control feeling to just be like, oh wait, let me just surrender right now. And then I surrender because I know how to do it. I've done it over and over again. It's the best feeling ever. It's like a breath out, like letting go. And then life is just so much better. It might not be exactly how you'd prefer it to be, but then I trust in a bigger picture that if I prefer it to be a certain way and it isn't, it's not supposed to look that way. And I trust that that's for my highest good, the highest good of everybody, etc., etc. So I could continue rabbiting on, but I won't. I'm going to give my daughter a bit of attention. Let me know if you did get value out of this very sporadic tangent episode, please, because I'll take your feedback on board. If you, for some reason, absolutely love this ramble, obviously I know I'm giving wisdom and value as well. It's not like I'm saying I'm not. I know I am. But the way it is, it's a bit all over the place. If you like these, I can do more of them. Just let me know. All right, my loves, I'll see you on another episode. If you want to work with me, go to my website. If you're not in my free support group, why are you not? You get free coaching and all the recordings from the hot seat coaching is in there. And if you haven't rated my podcast or thumbed up my YouTube or whatever it is you do on there, please take the time to do that because it really, really helps other people find me. All right, loves. Love you. Bye.